Let's move on to the Ashanti region for a particular story that has dominated discussions in the last few days, which has to do with a library facility. Two library facilities actually in the Ashanti region have for the past 6 months operated without power due to the inability of to honor payment of some 26,000 Ghana cedis in bills owed to the Electricity Company of Ghana. The situation has created inconvenience for the patrons of the library, and also those they would have to endure heat temperatures or warm temperatures as they struggle to read in the dim lights in the library.
Patrons of the Ashanti Regional Library and the Children's Library in Kumasi are not enthused at the stress of reading and the poor conditions. They have questioned why the Ghana Library Authority charges patrons but cannot raise money to settle electricity bills. But the two facilities have for the past 3 years not received any subvention from government and currently run on internally generated funds. The facilities lack space for reading and for almost a year has not been able to fuel the library van to provide services to remote parts of the region. Head of the Ashanti Region Library, Elizabeth Arthur, says the authority is cash-strapped. She says inadequate furniture and computers are negatively affecting operations.
Lack of staff, because we cannot, as at now, employ anybody. Some of them are dead, others have gone on retirement, but because of that problem that we must not employ, it's also creating a serious problem for us.
Meanwhile, members of the Ashanti Professionals Club, a development-oriented group, have refurbished the Ashanti Regional Library to befit a learning center. The group stocked the library with books, painted the entire structure, and provided additional chairs to give comfort to patrons. President of the club, Vincent Frimpong-Menu, reiterated their commitment to support quality education in the region.
This is where children can really come and get some enhancement in their knowledge. We gather that there is a lot to be done. So we would call on all well-meaning Ghanaians to support this facility.
All right, so we are staying in the Ashanti region because the Regional Security Council is currently meeting, or will be meeting this afternoon, following the thuggery exhibited by some members of the so-called security group affiliated to the NPP, known as the Delta Force. The group ousted the Regional Security Coordinator, who was appointed by the President. The group claimed that George Ajay, who is the coordinating who is actually the Regional Security Coordinator, is not a known person to them and did not in any way contribute to the success of the New Patriotic Party's victory in the regions, especially when it has to do with security. The leader of the group has been granted a police inquiry bail, and that was done on Saturday night. TV3 has learnt and has also reported to the police this morning as part of his bail conditions. And our reporter, William Evans Inkum, who has been monitoring this particular development with keen eye, has joined us to let us know the latest with regard to this and whether the regional security meeting is underway or is yet to start. Evans, what's happening now?
To gather all the evidences that will help in the investigation. But let me run you through what really happened on that fateful day. So this where they use as an entry point, though it is an exit point. And just after this place, you move straight to the Regional Security Council coordinator's office. But as you can see, it has been plastered with heavy slabs just to ensure that there's no more entry to the office because of the security nature. This place is a security zone, so not everybody is allowed to enter. So it was just an act of force, and he was removed from the office, passed through this particular place, and then thrown outside the block of the hospital. In fact, this morning we have been speaking with the police, and they have been telling me that they are still doing their investigation to unravel what might have provoked that action. We're also hearing that the man who was captured somewhere on Friday has been granted bail pending further investigation For the whereabouts of the regional security coordinator, we are told that this morning he did not report to the office, but he has been asked to come to Accra. As to whether there is going to be a change, we cannot confirm that. But what we do know is that he has been asked to come to Accra. So as far as this particular place is concerned, the place is very calm. The police has assured that they are going to work vehemently to unravel all the mystery behind this particular attack and then effect more arrests. So they are urging the public to keep calm, but we are also going to be in the helms of affairs as we gather all that you need to know as far as recent development at the RCC is concerned. My name is William Evans Inkum. Over to you, Martin.
All right, thank you very much, William Evans Inkum, with that update. So certainly the meeting will be taking place. When it does, whatever comes up, we will get that to you as well in your various homes. But we want to look a little deeper into this development, and we've been joined in the studio by a security analyst to see what kind of solution as a country we can find to some of these developments with regard to the fact that this is not the first time vigilante groups seem to have taking the law into their own hands and misconducted themselves. And if you saw the images from Kumasi, the coordinator himself, that's Mr. George Ajay, could have been hurt had the police not been there on time. Adib Sani is a security analyst. He's joined us in studio. Good afternoon, Adib, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
What are your preliminary comments about what happened in Kumasi, especially considering the fact that this is not the first time that we've recorded such an incident?
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to your viewers. I think before I come to that, let me correct a misconception or perhaps a misrepresentation. The history of vigilantism is traced to the United States when the early settlers were there. Because of the lack of law enforcement or a criminal justice system, they decided to come together to be on the lookout to enforce the law. So in the first place, there's absolutely nothing fundamentally wrong with a group of young men and women coming together within the ambits of the law to enforce the law in their society. But that notwithstanding, the problem has had to do with these vigilante groups metamorphosing into militia groups. Historically, because of the lack of resources, because of the lack of money, they are forced to approach businessmen, they are forced to approach politicians who take advantage of them to perpetrate their own selfish desires. So what happened in Kumasi, I'm not surprised because this has been festering for a very long time, and I have always contended that the security agencies in Ghana lack the roadmap. They lack a plan to, if not completely nip this in the bud, but to an appreciable level manage it.
Yeah, that is the context in which we want to place this interview. How can we nip it in the bud? Because we know that these vigilante groups exist, and for them to take such an action and flout what the president of the country has said or done is an indictment on the Constitution itself. So how can we deal with it?
Well, for example, we had similar issues, especially after the Liberian Civil War that ended in 2003, and in 2013, according to Human Rights Watch, one of their biggest challenge had to do with the fact that the people had lost confidence in the security setup. And I see this to a very minute level festering in the country. But that notwithstanding, it would help us if we understand the vigilante subculture and get to know what would make young men and women come together to form such groups to harass other people. Is it because of self-entitlement? Is it because they want to feel belonged to a group? Or is it because of the monetary aspect? Is it because they lack jobs? But my brother, I think it's important we go beyond the rhetoric. Let us approach this issue dispassionately. Let us approach it scientifically. In the past, it has always been an arrest has been made here, an arrest has been made. But from a security analytical perspective, it should go beyond the arrest.
So yes, arrests. Like in this situation.
These are people who have other people of high repute in society up there. So instead of mutilating the body of the snake, why don't we cut off their head? Let's look beyond these groups. Let us go after those who fund them, those who resource them. Because if you want to arrest every member of every vigilante group in Ghana, the prisons will be full. Do you get me? But besides that, the police, I have always indicated emphatically, it's important they harness their relationship with the communities in which they operate. It is time for us to go beyond the rhetoric. Civil society organizations, opinion leaders, religious groups.
So clearly, the people in authority or people who have the financial muscle and resource these people should be the ones that the police target or the state targets, not just the mere people in the group.
America has been bombing the Taliban since 2001. But still, we have Talibans. They've been bombing IS for God knows how long. Still, they are there. Let us approach it from a very smart perspective rather than the everyday arrest here, arrest there. I think it is important. Aside that, in the run-up to the election last year, the police met with the various political parties who appended their signature to the effect that they are not going to allow the activities of these groups within their folds. Fine, it was a working document, everybody knew about it, but the level of commitment is the problem. Indeed, as we sit here, no political party in Ghana has come out to concede that indeed these political, this vigilante groups is linked to my party.
So it is a group that rather say we belong to this party, but the party never says.
But the party, and we don't have any evidence to suggest that they are linked to the political parties, though we might, you know, take it as common knowledge that indeed they are linked to those political
finally, the police as it stands every now and then seem to get to the scene and try to bring some sanity. And like you mentioned, consistently they mention the issue of arrests. They do arrest some people. We hardly hear the end or conclusion of these matters. What else can the police do apart from, like you mentioned, just arresting the people?
You see, people would have to be made to understand that we have statutes, we have laws, we have processes, we have procedures. And if you are displeased or not happy about a situation, there are processes to go by. At the same time, the laws, despite their existence, doesn't ensure sanity. It should be education-based. People should be made to realize that indeed these laws exist and they can bite. So it's important that the police deal transparently, they deal effectively, efficiently, and on a timely manner with these wrongdoers to send a clear message to would-be wrongdoers that we are not a banana republic and words do indeed work.
Okay. All right. We'll have to leave it here for now. And we've been speaking with Adib Sani. He is a security analyst, and we've been putting the development in Kumasi in perspective. And as you would know, we know that the Regional Security Council is in a meeting as we speak. We'll get details of what would come out of that meeting and bring it to you. Thank you very much once again, Ibrahim. And Adib, I beg your pardon, Adib Sani. And we'll come certainly to you later on. This is still Midday Live on TV3.